Joining me now from another part of the debate spin room is former Pennsylvania Democratic Congressman, former Undersecretary of the Army, Patrick Murphy. Announced yesterday that he's endorsing Mayor Pete Buttigieg, and today the campaign asked him to appear as a representative for him. Congressman Murphy, good to see you, sir.
Hey, Chuck, great to see you too, pal.
So I read your op-ed. You make a case, particularly when it comes to the issue of foreign policy, that, hey, and it's an interesting contrast that you seem to make. A committee hearing, being in Congress isn't the same as having actually served in a war zone, and that gives you a lot of hope about Buttigieg. But how does he stand out tonight when he's had some struggles lately of sort of getting that national mojo back?
Chuck, if you want to talk about mojo, I mean, look at what the finance report showed. He's the number one of all 24 candidates. Number one, showing the big mo going into the debate tonight. And let me tell you,
what matters more, money or support?
And I appreciate
I mean, the polling numbers, he's the only one of the top tier that have been going down, not up.
Well, I would say to you, Chuck, we have to let that momentum. Now's the time for the voters to get to know him and to spend that money that he raised. But let me tell you something. If you want to change Washington, you have to change who you're sending to Washington. And I know you said you read the op-ed, but when we're all watching the debate tonight, and listen, we all love politics and we all want the best Democratic nominee to take back the White House. But tonight when we all go to bed, there's going to be 190,000 troops that are deployed overseas on our behalf. Only one candidate in this race. Mayor Pete Buttigieg is the one that a decade ago was leading those men and women in Afghanistan and actually called for a plan to bring them home, for a national call for service, to make sure that we repeal the AUMF, to repeal and replace it, because we just can't have these endless wars going on right now. That's the momentum that you're seeing with over 400,000 folks getting behind Mayor Pete today.
So in a recent poll, Mayor Pete had 0% support among African Americans. It recorded at 0. Obviously, you can't win a Democratic nomination without a significant chunk of African American support. The last debate happened just after that shooting that took place in his city. How can he make the case tonight? Look, race is going to come up. The president's racist tweets. It's obvious it'll come up in conversation at some point tonight. How does Mayor Pete distinguish himself? How does he make the case that he's the guy to lead racial reconciliation?
Listen, I think you saw in the last debate when Mayor Pete talked about accountability, when he said we have to do better. He didn't try and pass excuses, but you see a lot in Washington. The fact is this, Pete. Chuck, what I saw when I was a freshman congressman, the first Iraq vet elected to Congress, when I came out for Barack Obama as a freshman, going against the establishment, by the way, in Pennsylvania, coming out for Barack Obama when he was 40 points down to then Secretary or Senator Clinton, and he won, and he was the underdog. I see those same characteristics of authenticity, of the urgency of now in Mayor Pete. I think you saw that with this Douglas plan that he put out. He's not talking about rhetoric. He's actually giving a concrete plan to make Afro-Americans' lives better, to address systemic racism in our communities, in our cities, to address economic empowerment, not just a government program, but to make sure that they become entrepreneurs, to let their kids and their families succeed and live the American dream. That's the authentic leadership that people are seeing in Mayor Pete, and that's why he's the one with the momentum going into tonight.
You got into politics, state of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, perhaps one of the three most important states in the 2020 race, given that it was one of the reasons why President Trump got into the White House. How did Trump win Pennsylvania, in your opinion, and how does whether it's Buttigieg as the nominee or the next Democratic nominee beat him next time?
You have to be fearless. You can't just throw jabs back, verbal jabs back. You have to get out in front of folks. And whether it's through cable news networks, whether it's through late night TV, whether it's just through showing up, that's 90% of success in life. And I think that's what you're seeing in Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete is going after it. He was in Shenandoah, Iowa, with over 300 people in a sweltering area, and people are there because they want to hear what he has to say, because he speaks truth to power. He's the one that says, listen, I've been part of the establishment for decades down in Washington, D.C., and I'm not trying to point figures, but he is saying We need to come together as Americans. This isn't about, it is about the Democratic nomination, and yes, it is about beating Donald Trump, but it's also about our country and the values that we stand for. We don't stand for endless wars, Chuck. We don't stand for kids dying in cages. We don't stand for people not having health care in the greatest country in the world. And that's why when you have a leader, a generational leader, like Mayor Pete Buttigieg, willing to put it all out on the line, him and his husband saying, let's get this country together and let's move us in the right direction. That's what you've seen, that's what we're feeling, and that's what you're going to see tonight.
All right. Patrick Murphy, you are an enthusiastic supporter of Mayor Pete. You're not just somebody who wrote an op-ed, that's for sure.
Listen,
good to see you, sir. I'm serious.
Hey, listen, he may have been Navy, but I'm Army, but, you know, he's what we need, Chuck. You know that.
All right. Congressman, good to talk with you. Thanks for coming on and sharing your views. I appreciate it. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.